Hi, my name is Adi, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most common mistakes that beginners make when they are learning new chord changes. If you're new to my channel, please go and hit the subscribe button. This channel is full of guitar lessons, and today's lesson is looking at chord changes and the most common mistake people tend to make when they're learning new chord changes. Now, this is aimed mostly at beginners. However, if you've been playing for a while, you'll still be learning new chord changes, and so this information still might be useful to you. So let's have a look at the common problem. You may have been playing for a few months and just got through all your first chord sheets and feeling quite comfortable playing chords individually. However, when it comes to changing chords, you might find it a struggle. So for example, let's look at a C chord going to a G chord. It's a big chord change and one that's really common, but quite a tricky one to achieve. So the most common problem I find with people is that they'll play that C chord correctly, but they'll really struggle to get their fingers across and in the correct position for the G chord. They might find that the fingers start collapsing, or that they simply can't reach everything across, and you get lots of muted notes that aren't very clean. Now, the root cause of that, or the most common cause of that, is down to the position of the hand. Whilst as guitarists we always focus on the notes we are playing, where we place our fingers, what frets we put them on, how far across the frets we place them, all that kind of thing, that's always facilitated by a hand position. And if we get the correct hand position, we can play almost anything we like within our own physical limits. So looking at chord changes, I'm just going to demonstrate to you now what a sequence of guitar chord changes might look like from behind the instrument. So I'm just going to play lots of common chords that you're probably getting familiar with right now. Now if you watch closely, you'll see that throughout all of those chords, my hand was constantly moving. The position of my thumb was always changing, the direction of my arm was always changing, and there was always a slightly different bend on my wrist as well. So the whole lot is changing. What I can't do is try and play chord changes, so that's a G chord, and then stay in the same position and play another chord. I'm trying to play a C chord now, this is really difficult, my hands simply aren't. They're simply not moving around the guitar right. So we need to move the hand to facilitate that, and that makes the chord changes a lot easier. So to do this, in practice it's about being loose, but when you're learning it, you need to just kind of study your hand position and see where you need to be in order to get used to the movement that's required. So what I recommend doing is taking the chord change that you're struggling with and placing your hand on the first chord as perfectly as you can. So in this example, I'm going to use a C chord and then I'm going to go to a G chord. But rather than keeping your hand in this position and trying to get to a G, what I'd then like you to do is take your hand off and then pop it back on to where the G is. Take it off, put it back to the C, take it off, put it back onto the G. Or any chord change that you're particularly looking at. And as you're doing this, what I want you to do is take a mental snapshot of the positioning of your hand in each particular chord shape. So not so much what's happening on the front of the hand, but more what the back of the hand's doing. Where your thumb's placed, the angle of the thumb, the angle of your arm, the angle of your wrist, anything to do with the back of your hand, or behind the neck should I say, that is happening to allow you to play these chords as you comfortably know them already. Then what I want you to do is to try and apply this to the chord change. So it doesn't have to be at any particular speed. So there's my C chord. If I'm going to G, I have to release the notes, I have to release the grip that I currently have, and place everything where it needs to be for the G. And the same going back the other way. And then what I find is I'm now facilitating those chord changes by placing the back of my hand in the correct place. That's the only way I'm going to get through these chord changes. If we try and just stretch between the two, we will really struggle. It's not going to happen. So the next time you're looking at a new chord change and you're thinking, well, I'm not quite getting there, it's quite difficult, as well as looking at the front and where you need to place your fingers and the angle and things, just check the back of your hand. Is it correct? Are you giving yourself enough relaxation to be able to do it? Are you gripping that neck too tightly? Is that stopping you from moving between them? Just make it nice and loose and try and make a conscious effort to go into the new chord as it should be, as opposed to trying to get there from where you are and trying to force your fingers across the frets. You should find that will help you achieve the goal of learning new chord changes, only then having to develop the muscle memory that goes with it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find that useful. Again, please subscribe if you want more lessons like this. Leave a comment, share any tips of your own. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon.